We're here because these are dark times in the city of Chicago. The right to protest and the right to free speech are under assault. And I think it should be obvious, as a member of this organization, Coalition Against NATO and G8 Foreign Poverty Agenda, or CANGATE, it seems to us quite evident, why to be opposed to the NATO G8 summit here that's coming in May, at a time when the city is closing half of its mental health clinics to save $3 million. The city is spending tens of millions of dollars to bring the elite of the global elite to Chicago. That seems like an injustice on its face right there. And we are very concerned that to simply march in opposition to this is now being threatened by the mayor and these new ordinances that will put the right to protest under pressure at any and every turn. The First Amendment, the Bill of Rights, guarantees a number of rights to all Americans. The First Amendment provides that there should be no law, quote, abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or of the right of the people to assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances, end quote. Now, it seems to me that right on its face, again, that should be reason enough for Chicago's aldermen to vote against these changes to the municipal code.
Hello, my name is Jeff Frank. I'm with the National Lawyers Guild, an organization which for 75 years has defended protesters on the streets. Let's be clear. The mayor tells us that these ordinances are necessary to clarify, to simplify, and to end confusion. They will do none of that. For example, one part of this new ordinance is that every sign has to be described in particularity on the parade permit. Okay, every sign in a demonstration has to be. So what happens if there's signs that are not on the parade permit? The police can issue an ordinance violation. What does this ordinance violation allow? They allow for every sign, the organizer of the ordinance violation to face a $1,000 fine. That's every unpermitted sign, a $1,000 fine, plus up to 10 days in jail. Okay, so how is that not chilling our First Amendment rights?
I'm a member of the Amalgamated Transit Union, Local 241. The international vice presidents of our union could not be here this morning. They asked me, they have submitted a written protest. On behalf of the Amalgamated Transit Union Local 241, we find the attempt to restrain civil liberties abhorrent to the common good. Thank you.
If these ordinances were in place at the time my colleagues were arrested, they would have spent up to 10 days in jail with a $1,000 fine for simply providing basic first aid to peaceful protesters. Mayor, we will not be silent. While patients suffer, while our grandparents choose between food and medicine, we will not be silent while our children suffer in crowded classrooms and are unable to find jobs.
We have an issue here because the issue is, what if Martin Luther King was here right now? Would the same thing be going on? Recently, we've been going around when our TCAs got laid off, and we were picketing. We had the right to it. Right now, we have an issue, and we're looking at going around picketing again. We have custodians at O'Hare Airport that are about to be laid off, privatized, outsourced. We've had TCAs privatized or outsourced. We have supervisors of the TCAs, which makes the GA so important. Why were they laid off? But the problem with this is the proposed ordinances will serve to limit the basic rights of workers to engage in concerted protective activity.
On behalf of the 30,000 members of the Chicago Teachers Union that run schools across the city, we'd like to speak in firm opposition to the proposed changes that will affect everyone's right to free speech, assembly, and protest in the city. Yesterday, on Martin Luther King Day, the Chicago Teachers Union and a group of community partners had protests at 2 schools that are being affected by proposed closings and turnarounds, in Marquette, and also we marched to Theodore Herzl School on the west side. And all of these protests are part and parcel of what's necessary for citizenship in this country. The ability to speak out, the ability to assemble, the ability to observe First Amendment rights. Both of these protests would have been illegal under the proposed changes. We are concerned that these curtailments of First Amendment rights are not just intended for some one-off protest involving NATO and the G8, but in fact will have a chilling effect on the right of all of our people to speak out, to protest, and to exercise their First Amendment rights. And we call on the mayor, the aldermen of this city to oppose these changes. Thank you.